I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm putting this up. I'm going to tell this part as a reference in case someone who does not know about me, they wouldn't know what it's all about. I was kidnapped in 1941, born in 39, and taken to Moulton, Alabama from Buckingham Palace, or one of the palaces in London. My father's Edward VIII, and he never married Wallace Warfield Simpson. She married an impostor, a double, and they became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Now, herein is what I'm going to say. I've written, the name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I married Childers. Of course, I don't use the Dempsey, but in any legal thing, that's the name I have to use. That's not my name. My name's Victoria II, and I'm the heir to the British crown. In other words, I'm the real Queen of England. My father was taken down by character assassination, and I'm going to tell you the reason they took him down that's so important. It's treaties that were signed allowing the United States of America to invade the United Kingdom. And once they were positioned so that they've got underground bases under England and the UK and all over everything British. In Australia, they have Area 51, and God knows what else they have underground. And I mean, it's a mess. They're all over. They're all over. So they came as friends, and that was a lie. They took down my father because he wouldn't allow it. And I mean, there was a plot to take him down, and they did. He was a good man, and to watch the lies still being told, and to watch Elizabeth in this, but I still think, I know there's good in my family from the outreaches of the Windsors. They are directly the direct descendants of my person I was named after, Victoria the First, my great great grandmother. I know there's some good Windsors. There are. They weren't all okay with what happened to me, and certainly the German, thank God, side what that relayed to me. And by the way, my heritage is from Germany, some of it, and England. I'm English, I'm British, I'm the monarch, the legal one. But don't tell me and start telling me it's okay to do all this crap to me that's been done and make a pauper out of me and make me beg, and things that have been done to me that are so sick and vile, and my sons, because of our name and because it was okay to kidnap us, okay? And kidnap me and do the things they did to my babies who are heirs after me. Mark is heir after me, not William and Kate. Scott would be after Mark, not Harry and Meghan. But anyway, I want to get to this. I'm not putting Hustler magazine up with Larry Flint because he was shot, and that's sad. I keep saying, because people will bring it up, well, they don't like pornography. Well, neither do I, but I don't like what has been done in any of this. It's not okay. In this land of the free and home of the brave, I'm afraid to open my mouth because I'm subject to handcuffing. I can't really, if somebody's broken the law against me, I can't really file a complaint, nothing. I have to stay mute. Now, I was out, so when somebody says they don't like pornography, I don't either. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing a medical malpractice book, MD A License to Kill, about the Tesla files that were stolen. And they were stolen, according to history, you can Google, they were stolen. Actually, they were stolen. It was the Illuminati that stole them, and it entails a lot more than mind control. And you can cure an illness or create one, or programming people. And now it's mass. To do anything, it's a weapon that's unlimited, and it involves signals. And if people like the Parkland, I'm going to use that one as an example. Um, People could get together and they could, as they've done in the past, to change laws. This has nothing to do with guns, except it's taking your ability to protect yourself away from you. You take there's a lot of people coming in. I'm sitting back here and I don't even like talking where somebody can hear it because they look at you funny. They don't care to hear it because they're okay. They're still driving cars. They're still eating good. Their life is they go to movies and that, that's just the upper crust really live good. While I'm in rags and literally been tortured to death all my life. So it's been okay to do what they've done to me. And I'm not saying this is all Americans. There have been some good Americans, but as a whole, I've mentioned my life and being kidnapped, and I've been laughed at and saying, "Oh, really? Well, good." In essence, that it was okay to do it to me. Now I'm going to skip that. Oh, I'm getting to the patterns. Like Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I'm doing the book at Moonraker. So, I can try to go into that, and people either pretend they don't understand, some of them do. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that other than I'm going to say this. I was flown out at Flynts, and listen to the dates, August the 31st of 1983. And this is about time I started finding out about my kidnapping and who my father is, and he was illegally taken down. And George the Sixth, his beautiful, wonderful brother that history tells you he's great, helped steal it from his own brother, and he helped kidnap me with JFK, and Joe Kennedy was ambassador to England, appointed by Roosevelt, the president. JFK actually flew in there during the year I was born in 39 and helped with my kidnapping. So this is what goes on around here. Everybody, I watch it, and nobody that I know of has tried to tell the truth. In other words, they've tried to silence me and they hate me. Actually, they do. Now I'm going to stop here because I'm getting some people. I don't know if they even listening to me, but I don't care for them to listen to me. They're so unconcerned. They're going on with their lives, okay? While mine's hell. I know some people are going to get all uppity about this when they should be sympathetic and kind. And okay, and there are some of those. And recently I've met some of them. So Flint actually was shot in March of 78 when I'm doing the book in Marietta. George, I'm living there at Moonraker, and Moonraker apartments were owned at one time by Penthouse Magazine. They were bought out by the Mormon Church out of Utah, which gets into genealogy and everything. The book was entitled A License to Kill. Now, it's almost, well, it is like the Brits saying, hey, listen, she's telling the truth. Because I was living there and about doing the book, and about 2 years later, anybody can find out, Google it. Moonraker. I got distracted here. Roger Moore was the 007 in Moonraker. This is after me living there and doing the book at Moonraker, entitled Moonraker. It even had a something on it that I'm told it involved space, going up in space, and it was used for mind control. So in essence, you've got the 007, which is symbolic of the Queen, and you've got me writing about the mind control books, a book, A License to Kill, and so let me go on to this one, using mind control. Okay, now then, a year later, I believe it was this time span. It was in a couple, 3 years after I was living at Moonraker doing the book, that the other one came out, and of course Timothy Dalton's 007, A License to Kill. So they're supporting me in it with the titles of the movie and the 007s and everything. So I got a letter from the FBI, moved up to Laurelwood, and you get into some more patterns, letters from the FBI and what happened there. I'm going to skip where I was almost killed, April Fool Day of 80, and I was almost killed more than once. Um, and I mean, really, I don't know how I walked away from it, and I'm not sure I've ever walked away from anything, but at least I didn't die. Now, when I was out at Flynts, he flew me out there, and I never met him, but I knew his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia, was by a program shooter. And this goes back to your Tesla files that history tells you that President Trump, now President Trump's uncle, John George Trump, who was professor at MIT, helped steal the files, and then the FBI stole them. So anyway, the Illuminati. I hope Trump is not part of the Illuminati, the Freemasons. Anyway, they're really the ones that have had their hands on it. So here we are today. I'm in '76. I'm writing the book, and Trump's uncle was, according to history, helped steal the Tesla files. And what I was telling about came the mechanism, everything, the fact that you can program people, and all of that, cure an illness or create one. That means cancer, all of it. So you look at today, what's going on? They're still having funds to find a cure for cancer. They've always had this and been able to cure an illness or create one. And therein created illness like the Ebola, AIDS, etc. Think about it, South Africa, and think about what's being done to you now. They're going to hold on to it because I got a feeling they think I'm coming home, and I hope I am. And so they're playing the race card absolutely here. Now, where was I going with this? I was going to go back. I was flown out, and I never met Mr. Flint in '83. And it was due to the plane crash of the KAL that went down, the 007, en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. Okay, supposedly on that plane was Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman, doctor from Atlanta. Now, he was part of trying to have me killed, April Fool Day of '80. Also, Larry Flint did an editorial in April the 4th of '84, after I was out there in the campaign for Congress. And in the editorial, it's a nice editorial. It says, I know who was responsible for his shooting in Atlanta. Well, that was near Atlanta, but the doctor was from Atlanta, Larry McDonald, and he mentions him. So now then, I'm trying to hold this before it goes off and get something other than my nose. Anyway, this is now that Larry McDonald has supposedly gone down in the plane. It's 260 went down in that plane. And just prior to takeoff, former President Nixon was on that same flight, and they took him out. So they knew it was going down. So whether they took the whole plane down to make it look like Larry McDonald was on it is up for question. I don't doubt it. Here's the deal, though. In this mind-controlling programming, you can program the pilot. He doesn't even know it. He can fly off 10-mile course into the Russians, where surely they're going to shoot him down. Or they can fly into the ocean. Scotland. How many of these have happened over the years? And that can be simply because the pilot was programmed. And when they called for extra security and they put the flight marshal on there. You know, this is a zap game with signals. Who's going to promise you the U.S. Air Marshal that's there to protect you is not going to come out shooting you? So I'm back here, and I shouldn't be, because I don't like people listening to me or hearing me. You know, they flip it off. Don't bother them with all this unless it actually happens to them. But here's the other thing. I've said that, and all this brings in more security. It's supposed to be security when you can guess where all of it's coming to. This is the Illuminati. They helped kidnap me, take down my father, and they chip people. And this is what I was putting chips in them in mind control. And the best place to put it is in a root canal. And also Timothy McVeigh in the book written by Mars. He's dead. I think his first name was Tex. He says that, and there's a picture of Timothy McVeigh in there, and one of William Windsor. I guess he's a Windsor. Anyway, that they might have a chip in him in case he was kidnapped. Well, I'm the one that was kidnapped. But anyway, I'd already said that Timothy McVeigh was was programmed to take down the federal Murray building. Now then, I think his name is Brian Nichols, that was supposed to have helped him, is still in prison and alive in Oklahoma jail. But Timothy McVeigh was put to death, and like I mentioned, Scott Peterson, and people tune that out. Well, what's he got to do with a whole lot? He's on death row and he was programmed. The whole thing involved programming, him dating Amber. Think of the Amber if you care to go back and look where Amber Alert and all this. So somebody's, I have an idea, and I've been telling some of it because they were done in patterns, has deliberately done these. For what purpose? I don't know. Maybe they were hoping that somebody, the media that's controlled by the Illuminati that kidnapped me, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, some of my own family, and I'm going to say it again, I don't believe for one moment all my family was like that. I think and know that some of them have tried to help me. Now, where am I going with this? I'm going with this. This whole family from Elizabeth, she's illegal. Her father was illegal. He helped kidnap me, the monarch. He helped kidnap me, but he helped take down his own brother. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin. He had nothing to do with Wallace Warfield Simpson. A double, an imposter, was used by the Illuminati, and all those bad behaviors he and maybe more doubles were running around doing. People began to believe it was my father. In no way was it. He was married to my mom. He loved his country. He wouldn't sign the leases that allowed the United States to come in and take over. The whole plot was to take over the British Empire. I also placed them in the UK where they could take over my other relatives that were the monarchs at Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Netherlands, that's where all your war tribunals are with Henry Kissinger, who on the Watergate tape, I hope you get to hear the truth about that, what I was laid out, and he was going to have done to me if the British or my family didn't cross their palms with treaties or money or scientists taken to NASA in Huntsville, or you get the drift. There's more than one way in a ransom deal. So the treaties allowed the Illuminati to come in and take over everything. And if you go back to the timeline, 1936, when my father became king, this is when everything started to shift, and when I was kidnapped and brought to Alabama and given another name. Now then, I'm going to go back to being flown out to Mr. Flynts. I'd never met him, but I knew it was a program shooter and it was done in patterns. So I'm out there then in his home in Bel Air, and they have my mother, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, dying. She was alive October the 20th of 86. So was my father. They were still married, and they stole my father's identity. Look how powerful they were back then. So my father and mother were still married and still alive, obviously. Now, my mom